The only thing where they make me happy about Rufai say they say if they stand up to truth, if no they lie, if no they pretend, he don't clear Peter Obi like this now say Peter Obi no they get some things Peter Obi they do we no make sense, we no they alright, and he don't clear am say make he correct himself before time go. He clear Peter Obi, oh this one no be say make we dey talk say so no be all the time now you go dey support person o, person wey you dey support to you go still dey clear am, don clear Peter Obi like this. When I watch the video.
I never knowingly or unknowingly offered anybody 1 naira. And I will not do so in order to become the president. I'm not saying I'm not going to spend money for campaign. I'm not going to say I'm not going to buy lunch for people and everything, but I've never knowingly in all my talks with Kwankosu and anything offered any money. The people who are funding me, I'm happy that I've actually set up a team to oversee all donations and support to our campaign, and that is headed by a number of people, and that's what brought Aisha into what we're doing. I said I want it to be managed independent of me, so that those, I can't be talking about being transparent in managing public money without starting with my campaign. So I can tell you, as of today, nobody will say is the one funding Peter Obi.
Mr. Peter Obi had a good showing yesterday at the Gate of Editors. He was able to enunciate his thoughts. He was able to articulate his ideas by saying, I will take responsibility for everything possible as Commander-in-Chief. But the question is, there must be a document to hold you by. Yes, you've said many times that we should hold you by the things you say, but that's not good enough. We must have a working document, which is a contract with Nigerians. Your manifesto is a contract with Nigerians, and every politician must have that one way or the other. If you want to know, this culture started many years ago in a place called Runnymede, where the Magna Carta was signed in England between the king and the barons. That led to what is called Bill of Rights today. So your manifesto is like your contractual agreement with the people, where they can say, oh, you said you will do this. And if possible, if you put timelines to it, we'll be able to, inquire and say, Mr. Peter Obi, you said you would do this in the first 1 year. Have you done it? That's what they will judge us by. Because we thank God the APC gave us a manifesto in 2015, and that's why we can read out 62 promises that they made that they've not fulfilled till today. We thank God. If not for that manifesto, probably they'll say they didn't see anything. In fact, some things that were said in the campaign trail have been debunked. And that's why we need a level of accountability that cuts across all in this process. Endorsements comes political season based on the perception of those that are endorsing the people. But what is most important for me is the problem facing Nigerian people. The candidate that will endorse the problem and endorse solutions to the problem facing Nigerian people. And what are the problems? High inflation, over 20%. Nigerians are getting poorer by the day. A lack of accountability in governance. We all saw the story that broke, that the humanitarian minister, while talking to the Senate, said she was not aware that a budgetary provision of her ministry, the contract was inflated by about 10 times. Now we are asking, who do it? Who did it? Who didn't do it? And that's how we've always had contract scam in the country, at the expense of the suffering Nigerians. The fact that ASU is already saying they might go back on strike because agreements were not made. No pay, no work is still raging heavily. And these are the challenges. The fact that most Nigerians go to bed hungry. A lot of them now do 001. A lot of us those watching us today, probably they do 101 or 001. Zero means they don't have a meal at that time. 3 square meal has become a luxury. We are not saying one leader will solve all the problem, but at least we know that if we have a sense of leadership that can harness resources together, then possibilities abound. What Nigeria is not looking for, we are not looking for a miracle worker. All right? All we are looking for is somebody that has a good thinking cap on his head that will be able to solve the problems on ground and make the people work the miracles as regards productivity in their lives. And that's all the country is asking for this season. And it's not too much to ask for. So most importantly, the candidate that will endorse the problems of Nigeria and endorse the solutions to them are the candidates Nigerians are looking for. And that's why manifestos matter. At least let's see it.
Ayo, with where you left off with Peter Obi. There are two Ohaneze Ndigbo groups out there. There's the Ohaneze Ndigbo. There's also the Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide. The Ohaneze Ndigbo is the one that is led by Professor George Obiozor. Yesterday at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the Ohaneze Ndigbo, led by Professor Obiozor, had this lecture on nationalism and nation building, delivered by Professor Jide Oshnukwu. And then, of course, yesterday, we also had the statement from Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide through the spokesperson, Dr. Alex Ogbonna. I hope I got the pronunciation correct. Previously, I had criticized that group that Ogbonna speaks for, for bringing deities in Mbise and Arochukwu into the matter. But there's no doubt that Mr. Peter Obi, the Labour Party candidate, enjoys enormous support, enthusiastic support, not just in the southeast, among his own kith and kin, but across Nigeria. And what the Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide, the Ogbonna faction, has done is to say that, look, this is a man that we believe in. This is, the Peter Obi phenomenon that they think every Igbo person should buy into. And they talked about his competence, his emphasis on character, his emphasis on productivity. And that to that extent, Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide endorses Peter Obi. But it's not only Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide that endorses Peter Obi. He has broad-based support. And that broad-based support is even indicated on the front page of this day newspaper this morning in one of the stories, where Pa Ayo Adebanjo, leader of Afenifere, insists that, look, from the point of view of equity, justice, and all of that, Peter Obi is the right person for the job, because it will not be fair to continue to marginalize Igbos. It will not be fair for Nigeria to continue to behave 50 years, more than 50 years after, as if the civil war has not ended. And that the marginalization of Igbos is at the heart of the Nigerian question. So all these groups that support Peter Obi, they're projecting as a symbol of the need to address a sore point within the national question. That is that about that. Now, let's move on to his appearance yesterday at the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Well, I think that at the Nigerian Guild of Editors Forum, Mr. Peter Obi offered what could be considered an equivalent of a master class in leadership. Now, yes, it is true that he said he doesn't need a manifesto, where many people will not agree with him. Because when you have a manifesto, it's like defining your roadmap. It's like defining your contract with the people of Nigeria. It's like saying, this is what I want to do. And for a man who says he should be held responsible for whatever he does, he should be held accountable, then it's probably, a good idea to put everything down in black and white. However, anyone who has listened closely and attentively to Peter Obi will understand what his 7-point agenda, convey. And it's simply that, 1, he will run a lean government. 2, he will address security. He will move Nigeria from consumption to production. He will ensure accountability. He will place emphasis on competence, character, and integrity. He was also saying, and he has said so at many forums, that he doesn't think having fanciful certificates, is what exactly you need to provide leadership in Nigeria, but having a good heart and knowing that Nigeria just needs to move from where it is, from how it has been terribly mismanaged, to another point. So these are some of the points he makes. He talked about fighting corruption. And he then, in some other ancillary moments, made the point that, look, he never offered Rabiu Kwankwanso, the presidential candidate of the All Nigeria New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, to be his running mate, and that is just pure fiction. So he has been consistent in terms of messaging, and he assured us at that Nigeria Guild of Editors Forum that the job of a leader is to provide solutions. It is not to keep complaining, and the reference is very clear. Those leaders who come, they say they want to lead Nigeria, but they spend half of the time just complaining. And Peter Obi says his own proposition is completely different. So I think it's again good, as we said, with regard to Kwankwanso, that he took the opportunity offered by the Nigeria Guild of Editors Forum to attend that event and to interact with editors. But I'm just hoping that one of the issues that came up yesterday was attendance, was the crowd, the large crowd that wanted to be part of that exercise. Maybe the Guild of Editors should begin to look at the possibility of having a bigger hall so that, some of these persons who would like to attend, apart from editors, journalists, maybe supporters of the candidate or even the opposition, will be given the opportunities in a larger space to be part of the conversation. I think that is very important. However, that was not the only event that Peter Obi attended yesterday. Yesterday was busy for him. He was also on the NTA program called The Candidates, where he had an encounter with our colleague, Kederia Ahmed, who is the anchor of that particular conversation. And again, Peter Obi was consistent in laying out his 7-point agenda. But we don't necessarily have to keep second-guessing him, because it's not everybody that will be as attentive as some other people are. So he still needs to come up with that manifesto, lay it all out, spell it all out, and then on the basis of that, we can continue to engage with him. Now, as for the man in Port Harcourt saying he will provide logistics for Kwankwanso, he will provide logistics for Peter Obi, well, it's very clear